if they don't make it to the finals, then this might be one of the biggest L's in NBA history.
Hot topics.
Embiid never had the mentality to win a championship. I don't think he ever will win a championship.
The best analysis.
But Jokic, he might be the best player in the league this season. He really might be the MVP.
This is the Full Court Report.
And we're back.
What up, what up?
Episode number 25 of this 2024-2025 NBA season. How you fellas doing?
We're doing awesome.
I'm doing all right. Not a whole lot of newsworthy stuff going on, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a pretty light show today. Not much to talk about. But but really, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how to start, honestly.
One of the wildest trades in sports history.
Yeah. I guess we just jump right into it. I mean, I'm sure everyone listening already knows what happened. But yeah, like Toby said, in what is perhaps the most shocking trade in NBA history, the Los Angeles Lakers have traded Jalen Hood-Schifino to the Utah Jazz. No, let me finish. Luka Doncic is headed to LA for 10-time All-Star Anthony Davis, Max Christie in a 2029 first-round pick. And again, like I said, Luka Doncic is on the way to Tinseltown with Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris. Also part of this trade, the Jazz, seemingly part of every trade for some reason, they get Jalen Hood-Schifino and 2 second-round picks. But, I mean, I don't know. This really just came out of nowhere, at least to me. I feel like a lot of people really did not have this on their radar. But before we jump into, I guess, like what you guys think, I just have a few notes I wanted to mention. So this is the first time ever in NBA history that 2 players who had just been named to the All-NBA team that were traded for one another in the middle of a season. Of course, that being Davis and Doncic. Because of this trade, Doncic is now no longer eligible for a Supermax extension. Supermax contracts were implemented in the NBA in 2017. So he was eligible for about a $345 million contract with the Mavericks. Now, I think the most amount of money he can make with an extension with the Lakers would be $290. So he loses a little bit of money because of this trade. And do you guys, I thought this was pretty interesting. So again, like I said, in 2017, that's kind of when Supermax contracts became a thing, players able to earn more money based on the accolades, if they get all NBA selections or MVP or whatever it is. And you have to be with your team for so many years. Do you guys want to guess the only other player since Supermax contracts have, become part of the NBA who did not sign a Supermax contract when he was eligible? Do you want to guess that player? There's only one.
The only player?
It's only one.
LeBron James. No.
It's not LeBron.
I got no idea.
Do they still play for the team that they were drafted by?
They do not.
I don't know.
He's actually part of this trade. Anthony Davis.
Really?
Wow.
In 2019, he was eligible for a Supermax with the Pelicans, and the Lakers were like, you know what? Let's just trade for this guy and win a title. So I thought that was pretty funny. And then obviously, there's some ties between these two organizations. Nico Harrison, he was before becoming GM of the Mavericks, he was a Nike representative for Anthony Davis. So he worked for Nike for so many years, and he kind of helped get Anthony Davis on board with Nike. And then the head coach, Jason Kidd, was a part of that Lakers staff that won a title in 2020 in the bubble. So, again, there's a lot of, ties to these players, I guess. But enough of this background. I'm just curious, guys, what you guys think. We'll start from the Mavericks point of view. What do you guys make of this trade from, their standpoint, getting Anthony Davis in town, and, what do you guys think of Dallas moving forward?
Dallas is clearly in win now mode. I mean, they were in win now mode with Luka, but in my opinion, the roster is just a lot more balanced. They have their point guard, Kyrie Irving. They have a wing, Klay Thompson, and now they got a big man, a dominant big man in Anthony Davis. And they kept almost all of their depth. They still have Derek Lively. They still have PJ Washington. They still have Daniel Gafford. The only thing, in my opinion, is they could use another solid guard. Unless, Dinwiddie, who has been pretty solid for them. He's averaging about 10 points a game. Unless he's just magically going to step it up, or, Jaden Hardy or Dante Exum are, somehow able to pick it up a little bit. They're lacking at the guard depth for sure. There's plenty of guys out there. Trade deadline coming up. I think they were contenders before the trade. They're contenders after trade. And I think they could really even be the favorites if they get another solid guard to pair with Kyrie. It doesn't even have to be a starter.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with that. I feel like this, in my opinion, I think this makes the Mavericks worse, at least this year. I was trying to figure out what was the thought process going behind the trade, because a player like Luka, I feel like, is generational. And I feel like we talk about him every year being in the MVP conversation. And from an outsider's perspective, it didn't really seem like there was internal conflict or whatever. So like Jorie said, it came out of nowhere. I feel like the Mavericks kind of gave up on Luka based off of this trade, because either from something that we don't know about, like a fitness or a mentality standpoint, or just from a straight up defensive point of view. Because I watched that conference with obviously Jason Kidd and Nico Harrison, and they kept emphasizing that they're still in win now mode. They're trying to win a championship. They insisted that this trade made their team better after, hearing all the protests and riots from the Dallas Mavericks fans. And I think their big thing was they said that this fits with the culture that they're trying to build, whatever that means. I felt like they kept it kind of vague, but they also mentioned that defense wins championships, and that's their goal. So based off of that, it's, again, they were very vague with a lot of their answers, but I feel like they just kind of gave up on Luka. They don't think that he's capable of winning a championship, or they, something, like I said, something internal that we don't know about. Overall, though, I think this is going to be a big mistake for the Mavericks. If Luka can go to LA, win a couple of chips, and, he's known when he retires as a Laker, I feel like this is probably going to be Nico Harrison's biggest regret of his career, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you're right. It's to me, it's just betting on Luka Doncic, who is a 5-time All-NBA first-team player already, and he's 25, I think. Him not becoming, I don't even know, how much better can he even become, right? He's already proven that he's one of the best players potentially ever. But it is weird to just kind of give up on a guy. But I think you did mention conditioning with Luka. I know there was a report that the Mavericks did have pretty big concerns about, him staying in shape. And he's dealing with a calf injury right now. I think he mentioned that this is the 4th time in Luka's career that he's dealt with this calf injury in the same leg. So I think they saw that as, well, are you really doing all that you can to, take care of your body and be the best player that you can be? As great as he is, maybe that's part of the reason why they weren't willing to, keep him around. And obviously signing him to a Supermax extension would be a huge, commitment moving forward. But again, back to Dallas. To be honest, I like this trade for Dallas. I know I don't know if I really agree with you, Toby. I think Anthony Davis has been pretty vocal about wanting to play next to a center for some years now. And now he has 2 high-level centers, in my opinion, in Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively. Lively is currently dealing with an ankle injury, so he's going to be out probably the entire month of February. But when he does come back, that's just, bolstering their front court that they already have. And Nico Harrison, the GM of the Mavs, he did say he wanted to get back to having more of a defensive team, kind of building out like a really good defense. Last year, they were actually a really good defense after they traded for Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington at the deadline. This season, they're 12th in defensive rating. So, I mean, you bring in a guy like Anthony Davis to a, maybe a little bit above average defense. I feel like it's going to, make them even better. So that's definitely going to be interesting to watch. But to me, I think the biggest thing is PJ Washington and where his fit is with this team, because throughout his career, he's always kind of been a power forward, despite being a little bit smaller. He's like 6'7", about like 225, 230. So I think this move is going to shift him down to the 3. Unless they, change their rotation entirely, maybe they, bring him off the bench and move Clay to the 3. And I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure Jason Kidd will play around with a ton of lineups moving forward to see what works best. But I feel like that's definitely going to be a huge key moving forward to see, if PJ Washington can play the 3 and defend threes. But again, back to the AD being a 4 moving forward. I thought, and this picture was in the bubble, the one behind me. I thought that was when Anthony Davis was at his best, when he was playing the 4. He was playing with Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. And defensively, this Lakers team was a nightmare. So I feel like if they can get back to that, this Dallas team, I feel like they're going to be a really solid team. And then offensively, I feel like, it's not like Anthony Davis is just some scrub offensively, right? He's perennially averaged like 25 points per game throughout his career. You pair him with a really dynamic point guard in Kyrie Irving, who I think over the course of his career has really matured into a great playmaker as well. So I feel like pairing him with Anthony Davis, that's going to be really fun to watch. And then they have some, capable players with, like I said, PJ Washington, Klay Thompson, Quentin Grimes, I think, has had a solid season. And I know that a lot of people have been questioning why the Mavericks didn't get more draft picks in this trade. But I feel like Max Christie is going to be a really solid player for the Mavericks. I know I feel like a lot of people think he's just kind of thrown in there, but I actually feel like he's going to make a really big impact for this team, because he was, playing a lot for the Lakers before this trade. He kind of became like their go-to defensive stopper, like on the perimeter for the most part. So don't be surprised if he ends up actually being a starter moving forward, or like a 6-man and, bolstering this defense even more. So I'm really interested to see how this Mavericks team plays moving forward. But I do think you're right, Toby, in that the clock is ticking, and that if they don't win a championship, this could go down as one of like the craziest whiffs of a trade we've ever seen, because giving up on a 25-year-old perennial MVP candidate, I don't know. I don't think we've ever seen something like that before. So
we're in a new era. We're in a new generation of NBA. It's also, I find it kind of weird that I'm pretty sure he said like he didn't even talk to Jason Kidd before the trade. And I think that went on both sides too. Like
Yeah.
it didn't sound like any of the players knew, or I don't even know if the
Ron
coaches
didn't even
knew.
know. Le GM, he didn't even know.
Yeah, but it's just that's kind of weird to me. Like no communication. I don't know. I feel like that's like not a recipe for something good.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like from what it sounds like, Anthony Davis is excited about the opportunity to go to Dallas and, like he said, play at the 4 most of the time, and kind of get a new start with a new team. So it's funny because last week we were talking about how there's really like no loyalty in the NBA, and it goes both ways, man. Like, we see like everything going on with Jimmy Butler right now, kind of, making a pretty much of a mess down there in Miami. But, in the blink of an eye, Luka Doncic, who I think anyone before, yesterday or last night thought he was going to be a Maverick for life. It's just crazy. And it's so, I don't know. It's really crazy what's going on. But,
Jimmy Butler to the Lakers?
Nah,
who knows?
nah.
We still got a couple more days before the trade deadline. But speaking of the Lakers, I'm curious to know what you guys think of, what you think of the trade from their point of view. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
So yeah, like you guys had hinted at, um, a big part what everybody's saying, Shams and everybody, what all they're saying is a big part of why the Mavericks moved on was because they felt Luka wasn't taking his conditioning seriously. Apparently at training camp, before the season start, he came into training camp, Luka Doncic came in at 270. That would have made him the 7th heaviest player in the league. So, I don't know what he's at right now. I don't know, what's going on, if him being that heavy is the reason why he keeps injuring this calf. But he's in LA. He's with the GOAT, the guy who spends $1 million a year keeping his body in shape. So, LeBron, throughout every team he's played on, LeBron gets all the other players around him to lock in. And he's gonna make Luka lock in. He's gonna hold him accountable. And I think Luka Doncic is gonna be playing the best basketball he's ever played. I think Luka Doncic finally, not this season, but maybe next season, will finally get himself an MVP playing with the GOAT. But AD, Anthony Davis, he wasn't wrong about the Lakers. Even when he was there, they needed another big man, and now that he's gone, they definitely need a big man. So, I don't know if that's just because of how the teams were structured before the trade, if just the Mavericks were better, and so AD coming in, it just kind of, I don't know. Like I said, it balances out the rosters a little bit better. But the Lakers, the only two 7-footers on the whole team are Jackson Hayes and Christian Koloko, who I'm not sure has played a game this season. So I don't know. I mean, Luka and LeBron in LA is very exciting. Like, it's exciting, don't get me wrong, but the Mavericks won this trade. It's clear as day that the Mavericks won this trade.
Nah, I have to disagree with you.
I don't know, Toby. I mean, the Lakers, dude, they have even worse big man depth than the Knicks do right now. Like, they don't have anybody playing the center.
All right, well that's fine. I feel like this isn't definitely not going to be the Lakers' last trade before the deadline.
I agree with that. I think they definitely make another trade, but they don't have much to work with, Toby. All the players that they have, like, are either pieces that they want to keep, like um Dorian Finney-Smith and Austin Reeves, or they can get rid of guys like Christian Wood, but he's been injured all season long. So I don't know who's really trading for him.
Yeah, I don't know. This might be like I mean, like when the Lakers were in the bubble, they had like 3 or 4 centers. I think they had Drummond at one point. They had obviously Dwight Howard, and I think they had Cousins too at some point as well. So I feel like maybe they should, try to get a couple quality older centers if they can get their hands on them. I don't know like what they have to offer for trades moving forward, but I think this Luka trade is perfect for the Lakers. I think the Lakers definitely won this trade because I feel like they secured a guy who is just entering his prime, which is crazy to say because he's been so good the past couple of years. And they have, if they can lock him down, I think he has a player option in 26, 27. So if they can, get him to sign an extension or whatever, they got their future guy and they expect him to win a ring. And I think this feels like since the bubble, the Lakers just, in my opinion, they never felt like they were the same team or they were going to go back to where they were without adding like somebody else. And so I think this kind of switches gears for them. I feel like this is a push to get LeBron his 5th championship before he retires. And even, past the LeBron days, if they can, secure this guy, they'll have him. I feel like Luke is the type of player that if he's on your team, like you're going to be a contender, just put quality players around him and you'll be fine. So yeah, I mean, this trade for the Lakers makes sense. It makes them really, really light as far as a 4 or 5 go on the team, but I don't know, maybe make a couple smaller level trades. And I think they're going to be competing for a chip this year. I really do.
All right. Well, I mean, to be honest, I feel, and as weird as it sounds, because you're, like you said, Toby, you're trading for one of the best players in the NBA. To me, I feel like, at least in the short term, it makes this team worse. The Lakers worse. Because they were already a pretty bad defense. As, even with Anthony Davis, they were pretty bad defensively. I think they were 19th in defensive rating this season, and now you trade away one of the best defenders in the league and replace him with, basically another ball handler it's kind of redundant with like LeBron. I feel like if there's 2 players in the league who play similar, it's Luka and LeBron, like pretty ball dominant, bigger point guards essentially. So I feel like the fit, as amazing as those 2 players are, it's not the best fit, I think, possible. But not to say it's not going to work, but I think it's just going to take a little bit of time to figure out how it's going to work. Which is why I feel like it kind of makes this team a little bit worse right now. I'm not sure if they're going to be competing for a title. Like you said, Justin, they need a center. Like, you cannot be having Jackson Hayes as basically the only center on the roster moving forward, and expect to be, a title contender. But I think in the long term, like you said, Toby, you bring in a 25-year-old Luka, who's, I think, turns 26 maybe at the end of this month or so, to a team who's actually pretty young. Ironically, we think LeBron, we think LeBron, obviously he's 40, and we think the Lakers is like an old team, but Rui Hachimura, he's 26 years old. Austin Reeves, 26 years old. Jared Vanderbilt, 25 years old. Like I said, Jackson Hayes, 24 years old. Dalton Connect, who they drafted, 23 years old. Like, a lot of their core pieces are still pretty young. And you add Luka, who I said, 25, so he's coming in to a pretty young Lakers team, honestly. So I feel like moving forward, this team has a lot of options to develop and get a lot better. So to me, that's really exciting. But again, I feel like they just need to find someone who can really help them defensively, in the paint, rim protection. I did see a report that the Lakers are interested, I guess I should say, in Nick Claxton and Robert Williams. I feel like either of those players would be really good fits for this team. Not I don't know how they're going to be able to pull it off. Because I'm pretty sure the only draft pick they can trade is a 2031 draft pick. So we'll see how interested teams are in that, and what players the Lakers decide to move on from, if possible. But again, I feel like at the end of the day, the Lakers have just set themselves up for the post LeBron era, which is probably all they really care about at this point. You know, as much as we want to see, as much as probably, Lakers fans and people want to see LeBron get another title, he is 40, he's going to be 41 next season. Like, we don't know how much tread, I guess, are on those tires. He could retire, honestly, at the end of this season. To me, I think he's going to play one more year, but I don't know. I think you have just solidified your franchise player for maybe the next 10 years. And the Lakers are just going to remain competitive. They do it again. I don't know how. They keep getting away with it, man. It's crazy. But it's exactly. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think this is a more of a long-term move. As weird as it is, as weird as it sounds, it's more of a long-term move for the Lakers. But I wouldn't be shocked if, the Lakers, they have a pretty good standing right now. I think they're 5th in the Western Conference, so they're on track to make the playoffs. Who knows, man? Luka might come back after all these comments about his conditioning and is he good enough to like lead a team, etc. I mean, he was just in the finals last year, so there's no telling what could happen, honestly. But I do feel like they do need to make another trade and try and bring in some help in the front court.
We'll give him Claxton. We'll take that draft pick from him and maybe take somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. LeBron, guy's a basketball mastermind, and he's playing with, despite not having the same type of athleticism as LeBron, Luka might be the closest thing we've seen to LeBron when it comes to court vision and just overall impact on the game. Like, we've never seen nothing like it.
Yeah, it's so funny because like last year, I remember there was a lot of like talks about how Kyrie and Luka might be like the best offensive backcourt we've ever seen. And now you pair him with LeBron James, and I don't know what they're going to be saying now. Is this like the best duo we've ever seen? Just, I don't know. It's crazy. But again, it's the fit is going to be so interesting to me. How about JJ Redick? Like, what a season he's had, man. Like, to come in as the coach this season, he's had a lot, I feel like, a criticism for that hiring. And now he's got this is literally like the biggest trade, most shocking trade in NBA history. And he's got to figure out a way to, integrate Luka Doncic into this offense. It's like, geez, man, good luck. But I don't know. It's crazy. But speaking of LeBron and just, the future of LA, I'm curious to know what you guys think. If you guys believe LeBron is going to stick around now that I think you mentioned it, Justin, that they didn't even notify LeBron that this trade was in the works. Who knows if that upsets him. I think he's willing to stay with the team through the trade deadline, so I don't think they're going to move on for him, but who knows? The Lakers might just say, let's trade LeBron James. That would be insane, but I don't think that's going to happen. He does have a player option next season, so he could opt out and find a new home, which would be crazy. But what do you guys think? Do you think he's going to retire a Laker now? Or do you think he's going to move on, try and win a title somewhere else?
I think I doubt he leaves LA. In my opinion, if he does leave LA, there's only 3 other options of teams for him to go to. And it's go back to Cleveland, go back home, and just see if somehow he can finagle his way onto this championship contender without them having to give up too many pieces, get another ring in Cleveland, and then call it quits. Or this could be a little bit of me, being a silly Knicks fan, but he could take his talents to MSG, play a whole season in the mecca of basketball, really be the king of New York for a season. But again, the Knicks are a contender. We don't need LeBron. He's an old man. But the third option is he accepts his player option at the end of the season, plays through next season, waits for his second son, Bryce James, to finish his freshman season at Arizona, and then LeBron follows Bryce wherever he gets drafted. Those are the only three places I see LeBron James going if he doesn't if he decides to leave LA, which I don't think he'll do. I think he plays it out, accepts that player option, getting an extra 45 million before he retires. And then if he really, really wants to, he'll go play with Bryce, but I doubt it. I think he accepts his player option and then he's done after that. I think that might be the end of LeBron James's career.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I said, especially if the Lakers can like make a run in the playoffs this year, I think for sure that will influence his decision to come back next year and try to win another championship. And then if he does, I think he'll probably retire, after a championship winning season. Because he's an unrestricted free agent the year after. And especially with his son being on a team, like I don't see him being traded or trying to sign to another team. So I said the only way that I believe he doesn't finish his career on the Lakers is if he signs like a 1 day with the Cavs, just so he can retire as a Cav. I feel like he's 40 years old. He probably doesn't want to like move and stuff. He probably just wants to stay in LA and just relax and retire down there. So I'm saying with his LA lifestyle and the Lakers staying competitive with Luka on the team, I think he's finishing his career in LA. I think the Luka trade definitely helps that or influences that decision.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think I can see him wanting out if the Lakers like fail to put together the necessary team to really make this team competitive, like within, maybe by this trade deadline or over the summer. But I feel like he's going to stick around. I feel like, I don't know. I mean, are there really many better players to play with in terms of like trying to win a title than Luka Doncic? Like where else could he go? Obviously, like you said, Justin, like Cleveland would be a fantastic spot for LeBron, right? I feel like he would probably fit in with that team. But I don't know if that's really what they want to do or if they can even pull that off, unless LeBron took like a major pay cut. But I just feel like you said, Toby, it's at the end of his career. I feel like he's probably content with being in LA. I mean, Bronny, I don't know how much of a influence it has, but Bronny James, his son, is now on the team, so maybe he wants to stick around and try and see through with his like development as a player and just be around his son. But yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy, man. This trade really took me by surprise. I think it took everyone by surprise. And I'm just so interested to see how it plays out on the court because, like you said, I feel like this trade is could make or break Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka's careers, man. Because I don't know. It's obviously the Mavericks have to know something, right? Because the Mavericks were the ones that approached the Lakers in terms of this trade. They were the ones that called up and were like, "Hey, do you want Luka? Because we don't want him anymore." Which is just crazy, like. So again, we'll I feel like careers are going to be made or broken because of this trade.
So, damn it. So let's say that some report comes out says Luka Doncic is something's wrong with his leg. He's gonna have to get season-ending surgery, and then he's out for a whole 12 months. The Lakers they just got to take that L and just deal with Luka being injured, or does the trade get overturned, or what? Like, if the trade has been completed as of right now, the trade's been completed,
Mhm.
that means that there's no possibility of Luka Doncic like not ever playing again, basically, right? Or
Yeah.
do the Lakers just get screwed if he's hurt all the time?
I'm pretty sure it's gone through. I think it's a good I'm pretty sure that, like when the team like official team accounts on social media like report the actual trade, that's when that's like normally an indicator that
Hey.
it's official. But yeah, there's no turning back now.
So are there like physicals done, or like do teams check, like, did the Lakers like medical staff and all those people like check in on Luka and be like, you're not hiding nothing from us, like, type of thing?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure like the Lakers do like their own physical on Luka, and you know, like I don't know, I feel like I don't think they would have traded for him if their own medical staff saw something like, all right, this is definitely going to be like a major lingering issue. I think it's really just betting on Luka Doncic taking care of his body and, being in peak physical condition moving forward. Like the Mavericks don't believe that he can, and the Lakers do. I feel like it really just comes down to that.
Yeah,
Like,
because they know, dude. They know LeBron's gonna get this guy locked in, bro. You can't play with LeBron and not be in good shape. He's gonna get on your ass.
and I don't know. I mean, like, there's probably I feel like maybe it's a little overblown when it comes to like major markets, but I feel like there is a sense of like urgency for players when they are playing in like New York or LA, to really be at the top of their game because they understand that, or even Boston, like there's a whole history of team or players and teams that have come through and won titles, and there's just I think a higher standard really set for these players. So maybe Luka really starts taking it more seriously. Not to say that he hasn't. I mean, again, he's already been a 5-time All NBA player, so it's like how much better can he really be? But I think it's just being more available and just taking it more seriously, which could be terrifying for the league if Luka has really just been kind of like
Goofing
half,
off.
yeah, like not even he's like coasting through his career at this point, and all of a sudden we see like a locked in Luka Doncic, and he just I don't know what.
Imagine
That would be kind of scary.
Imagine he quits playing Overwatch.
Yeah, right.
Guys,
Imagine.
top 250 in the world in Overwatch, top 250 in the world at basketball. Like,
Didn't the guy LeBron say he was
Bro.
like top 50 in Madden or something?
Oh yeah, LeBron's dirty at Madden, bro. LeBron is dirty at Madden.
That's ridiculous.
Jeez.
Also, I want to say real quick too. It's funny how a couple weeks ago we talked about who's going to get traded first, like one of the Pelicans guys, or was it going to be Jimmy Butler?
Yeah.
And if somebody would have told me Luka and AD would have gotten traded before those two, I don't know. I probably would have fainted.
I mean, dude, Toby didn't even believe it. We were on PlayStation last night. Bro, it was like 12:30. It's like 12:30 at night. Toby, I don't even know. We were in different games and I'm scrolling through my phone and I reloaded Instagram just because I was like, oh, let's see what's happening. First thing I see, Shams, Luka to the Lakers. I'm like, Toby, oh God, what are we talking about? And Toby was like, bro, I don't believe you. Like, quit lying to me.
I thought
Yeah.
it was like a prank or something.
Yeah, I think Shams literally had to like go on his account and be like, guys, this actually happened.
Yeah,
Like,
I know. Yeah,
I'm
he was
not
like, yes,
joking.
it's
This is a
real.
real trade. Like it was so like that's how people thought he was getting hacked. Like it's just crazy. So again, um I think the most shocking trade in NBA history. Again, this is gonna be so interesting to see what happens with these two teams moving forward. But yeah, the trade deadline is. I mean, I don't know. We don't even need to talk about any other trades. This is the trade of all time. So
We'll see. We'll see. We still got a whole week.
yeah,
Anything could happen.
you're right. You're right. Well, I feel like we kind of covered that pretty well. So, I kind of wanted to talk about the All-Star teams that were announced this past Thursday. I'm excited to talk about this. But yeah, like I said, so last Thursday or this past Thursday, the NBA they announced the reserves. So we already knew the starters, but the reserves for the 2025 All-Star game. So in the Eastern Conference, we have Cleveland's Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, Boston's Jaylen Brown, Detroit's Cade Cunningham, Milwaukee's Damian Lillard, Indiana's Pascal Siakam, and Miami's Tyler Hero. And then in the Western Conference, we got Minnesota's Anthony Edwards, LA's James Harden, San Antonio's Victor Wembanyama, OKC's Jalen Williams, Houston's Alperen Şengün, Memphis's Jaren Jackson Jr., and I guess now Mavericks forward Anthony Davis. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Did they get this right? Did the coaches are the ones that vote on the reserves. Did they get it right? And if not, who do you guys think is the biggest snub in each conference?
I'll let Toby go because I feel like me and Jorie are about to argue.
All right, I want to listen to that. I feel like the coaches. I don't know, but I feel like they probably factor in winning a little bit too much because when it comes to All Stars, I don't equate it to like MVP. Like I don't look at it like, oh, if you have a losing team, you don't deserve to be an All Star. I just think of it as like who on the team has the most impact as far as winning, and So with that being said, I chose a snub out of the East and the West. So for my East snub, I chose Tyrese Maxey. I just wanted to shine some light on him because I'm pretty sure I know what who Justin picked. But Tyrese Maxey, in my opinion, he's the biggest All-Star snub of the East. Right now, he's averaging 27 and a half, 3.5 boards, and about 6 assists on 44%. And his numbers are actually better than they were at this point last year. And last year, he was an All-Star. Like I said, I think they take winning a little bit too much into consideration because this guy has been playing with a very injured Sixers team all year with different lineups. Obviously, Paul George in and out, Embiid, and he just lost Jared McCain, who, he played a lot with. And I think he's a better defender than a lot of people will give him credit for. I think he's improved a lot over the past couple of years. He gets a lot of steals. So that's who I chose out of the East. And then my Western All-Star snub, I chose Devin Booker. I know that he's had kind of an off year this year, especially in the beginning, but I feel like the past couple of months he's played like Devin Booker. He's played like the Devin Booker we all know. And I feel like he's done enough the past couple of months to deserve that roster spot. Right now, he's averaging 26, 4, and 7 on 45% shooting. So I don't know. I didn't look at who I would replace them with or whatever like that. But I feel like those two, if you're going to add a roster spot to each team, I would add those two to the teams.
All right. So I agree with what you said, Toby. In my opinion, winning, like your team winning games shouldn't have an impact on whether or not you're an all-star. I think all-star is what you've done individually, if you're a good, personality in the league, like you have a lot of fans, stuff like that, like it should just be about that. If you want to factor in winning, that's for the all NBA spots and MVP and DPOY and stuff like that. That's when the winning should matter. I feel like All-Star game should just be about fun, seeing the players who the fans want to see. It should just be about that. Now, with the East is honestly pretty good, in my opinion, outside of Tyler Hero. I do not think Tyler Hero deserved to be an all-star over Maxey, Trae Young, or LaMelo Ball. Tyler Hero, he's on the best team out of, the Hawks, Sixers, and Hornets. But I mean, to me, his numbers are just like he's got good numbers. He's averaging 24, 5.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists. But Maxi's averaging more points. Trae Young's leading the league in assists while also averaging 23 points. And my biggest all-star snub in the whole league for this year was LaMelo Ball. Now, I know Jorie is going to want to say something about that, but he averages 28, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists. He led the fan vote. He was third in the player vote, so the players were voting for him. And out of the players that were selected as reserves, LaMelo Ball averages more points, rebounds, and assists than every reserve that was selected. Not these other guys who were snubbed. The people who were selected, LaMelo Ball outscores rebounds and assists. All of them. I don't care if the Hornets have 12 wins. LaMelo Ball, it was the biggest snub I think I might have ever seen in my life. Now, for the West, it's kind of hard to get rid of somebody because everybody's been playing so well. But I feel like Fox and Sabonis need to get in there. Sabonis got snubbed last year when he should have made it. And this year, he's putting up 21 points, 14.5 rebounds, which leads the NBA, and 6.5 assists. That he's about to do it again. He's about to make all NBA and not be an all-star in back-to-back years. So something's going on over there with these all-star voting rules. I think that for the all-star game, fan voting should be the only thing that matters. Maybe have player voting, but the coaches should have no impact on the all-star game because, in my opinion, they clearly don't know what they're doing.
All right. Well, here's why you're 100% wrong. No, but really, I hear what you're saying about it's an exhibition game and fans are the ones that are watching and winning shouldn't matter. But all-star selections do impact players financially, and I do feel like that's really important to remember because, like, at the end of the day, we have to remember that coaches are also being, I guess, graded or kind of, on, I guess, just how many games they're winning. So if coaches are the ones voting, they're definitely going to factor in if a team is winning and, how successful a team is with that player. But you mentioned LaMelo Ball, Justin. And I got quite a bit here. I really kind of went in. So LaMelo has played less games. He played 31, less games than every reserve in the Eastern Conference. LaMelo has a usage percentage. I've used this advanced stat, I guess. It's not really too advanced. In the past, I think I've used it to talk about Jokic. It's just when a possession ends with a player's shot attempt, free throw, or turnover, basically just how much they're getting used on offense. His is 37.3%, the highest in the league. That is higher than James Harden's MVP season in 2018, Allen Iverson's MVP season in 2001, and higher than every season but one from Kobe and Michael Jordan. So I feel like when we talk about his stats, we shouldn't really be too surprised at what his averages are because of how much basically his offensive load in Charlotte. And not to mention, he's taking a league-leading 12.3 three-pointers per game, but he ranks 141st in three-point percentage. So he's not really doing anything efficiently, offensively. He's putting up really good numbers, but again, not much efficiency there. And then, so I went back because I wanted to know, kind of get some like historical context of how coaches vote in terms of, you know, winning and how much they factor in winning, I guess. So I'll start here. The Hornets, as of February 1st, are 21 games. This is the Hornets right now, this season. 21 games under 500. They are 10 games back of the eighth place in the Eastern Conference and 7 games back of the play-in. So, needless to say, probably out of the playoff picture entirely, headed for potentially the top lottery pick. So, I went back 10 years of coaching All-Star Reserve voting, and I wanted to know, you know, where these other players kind of lie when it comes to voting. So I took the players who had the least amount of wins by February 1st of the All-Star Reserves. So last year, Steph Curry in 2024, the Warriors, they had 20 wins at this point in the season. They ended up finishing 10 games over 500. In 2023, DeMar DeRozan with the Bulls, they had 23 wins at this point of the season, and the Bulls ended up making the playoffs. In 2022, it was a tie between Fred VanVleet and Karl Anthony Towns. They both had 26 wins that season. They both made the playoffs. In 2021, Zion had 18 wins. This was a post-bubble season when they, you know, had a shortened season. So at that point, they had only played 19 games, but they were playing about an 18-win pace. So Zion. In 2020, Brandon Ingram with the Pelicans, he had 20 wins. They were 4 games back of the playoffs. In 2019, Nikola Vucevic with the Magic, they had 21 wins. They went on to make the playoffs. In 2018, Kristaps Porzingis and the Knicks, they had 23 wins. At the time, they were 3 games back of the playoffs. 2017, Boogie Cousins with the Kings, 19 wins, 2.5 games back of the playoffs. 2016, Anthony Davis, 18 wins, 4 games back of the playoffs. And in 2015, Chris Bosh with the Miami Heat, 21 wins, 7th place in the Eastern Conference. So basically, I say all that to say is that there's a historical precedent to coaches voting teams who win games. And the Hornets currently have 12 wins and are in 14th place in the Eastern Conference. Here's what I'm not saying. LaMelo Ball doesn't impact winning. That's what I'm not saying. But I do feel like we've seen it for about 5 years now that him being the number one option does not lead to many wins. I think they've had one season where they finished above 500 and they didn't make the playoffs. Ironically, I feel like if he were to be shifted down and played, you know, maybe as a second option with another star, I think that would help his all-star chances. I feel like being on a better team and showcasing that he does contribute to winning in the standings, I feel like that would actually help him a lot, becoming more of a perennial all-star. But to me, it kind of reminds me of Tyrese Halliburton last season, where the Pacers were like this running gun, up and down team, putting up like 130 points a game. It felt like every night. But they were really not that great of a team. They were barely 500, a lot of times below 500. But Halliburton, you know, he was averaging, I think, like 24 points and like 14 assists a game. A lot of people were saying, is he the best point guard in the Eastern Conference or the best point guard in the league? And I'm thinking, like, is he really the best point guard, or is he just putting up crazy stats on like a high, you know, fast-paced offense? And then they traded for Pascal Siakam, and his numbers dropped pretty significantly, but the Pacers went on to make the Eastern Conference Finals. So I feel like something like that could definitely happen to LaMelo, where I totally understand, you know, being frustrated over a guy who's averaging like 28, 5 and 7 or whatever it is, not making the All-Star team. But I do feel like, again, coaches prioritize winning more than anything when it comes to the All-Star game, because that's how they're, graded. And that's, coaches will get fired if they don't win games. So I don't know. To me, my snubs, I think I agree with you, Toby. Tyrese Maxey. I feel like whenever I watch Tyrese Maxey, I'm like, geez, I don't know if there's anyone in the league that can guard him. There's just so few players who can stay in front of him. Even without Joel Embiid and Paul George's season, like where defenses can really key in on him, he's still just a blur, like a nightmare of a player to stay in front of. I feel like he gets to the rim maybe better than anyone in the NBA. But I also said Trae Young. He's leading the NBA in assists. I think you said that, Justin. The Hawks are 9th in the East right now. They're only a game and a half back of the 8th seed. They were in the NBA Cup semifinals, so they were pretty competitive, in those NBA Cup games that have a lot more juice to them. They already beat Cleveland twice this season. They beat Boston. And they did lose Jalen Johnson on January 23rd, and they had lost 6 straight games. But before that, they were 22-21. So I feel like, I don't know, the Hawks were a pretty competitive team pretty much this whole season up until that injury. And I do feel like Trae Young should have been rewarded for that. But I think the biggest snub probably is Sabonis out west. He has a league-leading 42 double-doubles this season. He's averaging career highs in points and rebounds. And the Kings are currently 24-24. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. If I were to pick a player to replace, it'd probably be Şengün in Houston. But that's hard to say because they've been so good all season. I feel like they do deserve an all-star. But if there is one player, I'd probably say him. But again, I feel like everyone is pretty much deserving. Yeah, I don't know. To me, I think they got it right for the most part. I understand that people are frustrated with Tyler Hero, but I feel like he actually has had a really good season, and he's been really consistent. And, with everything going on with them, with the Jimmy Butler drama and everything, and, Bam Adebayo really not having a great season, he's pretty much been the reason why they're still in the playoff hunt. So I feel like Tyler Hero has been, deserving, I guess, of this all-star nod.
Yeah, when I had looked up his stats, I wanted to compare the numbers to him and the couple of snubs. He's definitely playing better than I thought he would be. If you had just told me guess how many points he's scoring per game, I probably would have said like 19, 20. But the fact that he's up to 24 points a game, that's pretty impressive. But still, I'm swapping him for LaMelo Ball. And out west, if we're being honest, I think Fox should have made it over James Harden. I think De'Aaron Fox should have made it over James Harden. But that's also because I think Norman Powell should have made it over James Harden. Like, Norman Powell was low-key a snub. But I think instead of swapping Sabonis for Şengün, I think you swap him for Jaren Jackson Jr.
Really? I feel like Jaren.
Spencer wouldn't like that.
I feel like
That's part of the reason why I said Jaren Jackson, because I don't like the Grizzlies, but the Rockets are a 2 seed, bro, and they're not far off from the Thunder. I'm pretty sure 2 games behind the Thunder, right?
I thought they were like 3 or 4.
Whoa, no, they're 6.5 games behind the Thunder. Never mind.
Yeah.
They're tied. They're actually tied right now with the Grizzlies, so they have the same record, but I don't know.
So, Jorie, can I ask you a question?
go ahead.
Because you kind of alluded to the fact that LaMelo Ball, he can't lead a team like as the number one option.
Is that a question or is that
No, I'm saying like that's what you said, right?
pretty much, yeah.
Has LaMelo Ball ever had an all-star on his team?
Has Jokic ever had an all-star on his team?
Jamal Murray was never an all-star?
Nope. I'm not saying he needs to be Nikola Jokic, but I don't know if that's
But you said Nikola Jokic is the top 10
mean, like,
player of all time.
prior
so-
to like Luka
Yeah, that is
Doncic.
facts. According to you, Nikola Jokic is top 10 all time. So, I mean, when you're top 10 all time, do you really need an all-star?
To me, I just feel like LaMelo, I don't know. He's been in the league 5 seasons now, and the Hornets have yet to make the playoffs. And I know that this Hornets organization is not great historically. They have not been a good organization. But I don't know. It's just like part of it. I think it also is availability. He hasn't played many games. He's dealt with a lot of injuries throughout his career. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm not again, like I said, I don't think he's not a winning player. Like I do feel like when he does play, he absolutely makes an impact. And the Hornets are a much better team because he's out there. But I don't know if he's really the number one option that this team needs. And I do feel like he would benefit from playing with someone, I'm just throwing names out there. Like someone like Anthony Davis or someone like Giannis or someone like, just a bigger name who I think can be more consistent and kind of take the load off. But I don't know. Again, I don't think he's not a winning player, but it's just hard for me to view him as a number one option if I don't know. He's had 5 seasons of opportunities to showcase that. And
How about this? I have an idea. This is kind of off topic, but how about we get the Hornets the other ball, bro, Lonzo, and then we get him like a quality big man, like Sabonis, somebody with toughness, gonna get boards. That's a playoff team. I think that's a playoff team.
Yeah.
I mean, we've still really yet to see a breakout from Brandon Miller too. I mean, I just looked at his stats. He's averaging 21 a game, but there's a part of me that feels like Brandon Miller really could be, close to what Paul George was in his prime. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we still gotta wait for a Brandon Miller breakout season. LaMelo, LaMelo's our age. He's only 24 years old, 23, 24, something like that. So I feel like he's just got to learn a little bit more about efficiency. Guy needs to learn a little thing or two about efficiency. And I don't know. I mean, he's a great scorer. He's a great facilitator and passer. I think LaMelo Ball could be a number one option on a team. Maybe not the Hornets team, but
I mean, he is a number one option, is my point. And he has been for 5 years.
well,
And
I'm
they
saying
haven't won. So
The
like
Hornets-
a championship contender. He's playing on the Hornets. Like
The
if the guy
Hornets-
was playing on the Lakers, I'm pretty sure the Lakers would be pretty good. Like
Cade Cunningham last season, the Pistons went on a historic losing streak. Who did they add in the offseason? They added Tobias Harris, and all of a sudden they're a 500 team. Like, to me,
they got a couple guys over there.
who? Malik Beasley? Like, you're telling me
Malik
like those
Beasley,
like role
Tim
players.
Hardaway Jr. These are solid role players.
Nobody that is better than Cade though, right? And that's my
No.
point. Is what does LaMelo need to be better? Like you just mentioned Brandon Miller having a great season.
I mean, bro.
I don't know. To me,
A
it's
big
just
man. A big man.
Mark
They
Williams.
just traded Guy.
It's
Yeah,
just
but if they get an all-star, like good big man, LaMelo can be the number one option on that team, and they could
I
be
mean,
contenders.
they also got this guy Miles Bridges, the third best player on the team. The guy's a criminal. The guy's rapping to get out of the NBA. Like this guy Miles Bridges, he doesn't care at all about basketball. Like I remember saying this before. All right, that was a little out of pocket. But I remember saying this before the season started. The Hornets, they're a young team. Like everybody on this team's a young kid. They just don't have like the urgency to win or really like get on the grind. They're just there making their money at this point. Like I feel like it's more of a culture thing with the Hornets than it is just the players, not being good enough. I feel like nobody's over there pushing LaMelo Ball to lock in. He's just doing whatever he wants, and he happens to be having a good season.
You're right. I mean, I think again, I don't want to sit here. I feel like I'm coming off as a LaMelo Ball.
You are.
But again, to me, it's just he doesn't really play a lot of games. I feel like he's been hurt a lot throughout his career. And I don't know. Like, it's just hard to argue with results. When
I'm also a LaMelo Ball glazer, so I'm a little butthurt that he didn't make it. But
I don't know.
you make a lot of good points, Jorie. He does need to be more healthy. He does need to win games. But I mean, the numbers don't lie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I feel like this is a young team. They have a first year coach in Charles Lee. So like this is like the building, they're really still building this team, but I just don't know if like LaMelo Ball is going to be like a Luka Doncic type player who can just go out there and will his team to an NBA Finals, like regardless of who's out there. Like I just don't know if he really makes that impact. I feel like again, I mean, I feel like he would. Again, I really do feel like he would benefit from having another star on that team. But who knows? Maybe Brandon Miller is that player.
I mean, a little LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, and Cooper Flag trio doesn't sound too bad. But
Yeah.
real quick, I don't even know if we have another segment after this, but we were kind of speaking on LeBron and what happens in his career. And last week I had asked you guys about Anthony Edwards, but I think LaMelo Ball is like a lock to move somewhere else by the time, like either at the end of this contract or just sometime in the near future, next 3 or 4 years. I think there's almost 100% probability that LaMelo Ball is playing for another team.
Yeah. And I'm sure there will be a ton of suitors for him because he's a great player. But I think fit is going to be a huge thing for him.
Yeah.
And, kind of like you said, reining in some of the shot attempts and becoming a more efficient player. Yeah, because I don't know, putting up almost 13 threes a game it's not the move.
Yeah.
Unless you're Steph Curry. Like, I don't know if that's really what you want to be doing. But yeah, that's about it. We only had 2 segments because I knew we were gonna go long with the Luka Doncic trade, and then I knew I had a lot to say about LaMelo. So, who knows? Maybe. Well, I guess he is injured, so I guess he probably won't be an injury replacement if there is one in the East. But we'll see. Yeah. Any parting words before we sign off here?
I can't believe it. I just can't believe it, bro. I can't wrap my head around it. I just don't know why. I just don't know why on both sides of the trade. Just why. There was no reason for it. Well, at least that we know of. The Mavericks might be hiding a little something, but we don't know yet.
Yeah. I'm interested to see like what stories come out over the coming days. I'm sure there'll be a lot from both sides.
Luka is going to look disgusting in that Lakers jersey. He's going to look gross.
Yeah, I hate that he's on the Lakers now.
It's crazy.
Oh, by next episode, the Eagles will be Super Bowl 59 champions.
You're out of your mind. Well, wait. Aren't we doing episode the day of the deadline?
We'll see what trades go down.
All right, so maybe I was wrong.
Well, you're wrong either way because they're not winning.
No.
So
Yeah.
oh boy. Yeah. Well, it's gonna be a fun week. We got the trade deadline and then the Super Bowl. So and then All Stars next week, I believe. So a lot going on in the sports world. But yeah, it was fun. It's a fun episode. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all the stuff. And yeah, until next time, we'll be seeing you.
Sorry, Mavericks fans.